On Canada Day, July 1st, the Trudeau government will be imposing what amounts to a second carbon tax on Canadians. It's called the Clean Fuel Regulations, and its purpose is to lower the carbon content of liquid fossil fuels. Now, the independent, nonpartisan parliamentary budget officer, Yves Giroux, looked at this and said, okay, by 2030, that will increase the price of gasoline by a maximum of 17 cents per liter. Now, remember, that's separate from the carbon tax. The carbon tax, which Trudeau introduced earlier, by 2030, Yves Giroux says, will increase the price alone of cost of gasoline by, I believe it's 37.57 cents per liter. So all in, that's going to be more than 54 cents per liter. And that compares to, that's a almost 300% increase from the impact of the carbon tax alone today, which is about 14 cents per liter. And of course, the problem is that when the cost of gasoline rises, the cost of almost everything rises, because almost all goods and services need to be transported somewhere. And to do that, you need fossil fuel energy. Now, the other thing about the clean fuel regulations is that unlike the carbon tax, there are no rebates. You're not going to get back any money from the government like you do when you're paying the carbon tax. And so because of that, that's what's known as, it's a regressive fee or tax. And what that means is that people who are in lower economic brackets will disproportionately pay more of their income than people in higher brackets. And that's because transportation's a necessity, and lower income people pay more of their income on necessities like transportation than people who are wealthier do. But even with the rebates, the parliamentary budget officer says that no, you have to look at also the negative impact of the carbon tax on the Canadian economy. And so the rebates aren't going to cover that. And so he looked at 4 of the provinces where, all the provinces have different systems, but in 4 provinces where they're going to pay both the carbon tax and the clean fuel regulations in 2030, what the parliamentary budget officer said, independent watchdog, nonpartisan, is that in Alberta, that'll mean for the average household about $3,500 more a year. And in Ontario, it'll be about $2,000 more a year. And in Saskatchewan, it'll be about $2,500 per year. And in Manitoba, about $1,800 per year. And remember, since we're only responsible for 1.5% of global emissions, none of that will materially affect climate change. The parliamentary budget officer points out that as well. Our emissions aren't enough. It's a global problem. And simply reducing Canada's emissions about 1.5% of the total, even if you drop them to net zero, insignificant. What it will do is give us the moral authority to ask the major emitters like China to lower their emissions. But as we all know, China doesn't really listen all that very much to us today. I'm Lorrie Goldstein of Sun Media. We're always interested in hearing your views. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and our YouTube channel.